We're live at Next Summit New York 2026. I'm here with Michael Sutton, the founder of Fyntek USA. Good to meet you, mate. And how's it going?
It's going great. We're having a ton of fun here at Next, learning a lot from the panelists, meeting a lot of great people, and it's been a really productive conference. Just a lot of great interactions. It's a great venue, and it's always fun being in New York City.
Yeah, nice one. And we're actually going to be talking about how Fyntek empowers merchants and demystifies payments. So first question I have is, how important are payments to running a successful operation?
So I'm glad you asked that, because payments are critical to running a successful operation. So we work a lot in the space with sweepstakes and social casinos, DFS, predictions, these kind of verticals. And what we've noticed, especially in sweepstakes in particular, you kind of have four pillars of success, right? Or four pillars that make your business successful, right? It's your tech, your operations, your marketing, and your payments. And payments often gets overlooked. And so what we have found happens is a lot of people, they get their tech in order, they get everything in order, they got their affiliates ready, they're ready to rock, and they say, hey, we need payments. Is it cool if we go live next week? And they're missing fundamental key parts of their underwriting package. And so it causes delays. It can mess up scheduling with their marketing plan. And so for us, what we've tried to do is we have been through the underwriting process with everyone, and we've become kind of a one-stop shopping consultancy. So if you're an operator and you're looking to have someone demystify payments and walk you through that process, avoid wasting time, avoid costly mistakes, and have someone who's on your team advocating for you and helping you get payments, and then maintaining a relationship with you and helping you build and continue to save money and increase acceptance. That's what Fyntek's for.
Yeah, sounds like a bit of a mindset shift that has to take place in order to see payments as, or not overlook payments. How do you go about interacting with the industry to ensure that you are shifting that mindset towards more or less of an overlooking of payments?
So that's a great question. So a lot of times what we try to do is get in front of people, and we try to inform people in the industry, and we pretty much are trying to preach this gospel, if you will, of payments being important, and how important they are, and how important they are to start, how important it is to start the process earlier rather than later. And that payments aren't something, I mean, payments are kind of like roads, right? When you're going to go somewhere, you're driving on a road, you don't expect it to have problems or be shut down. But as soon as you have a road closure, it creates a lot of problems, and you don't get where you're going, and it causes delays. And you don't really pay attention, at least I don't as much when I'm driving and I see people doing road work. You're not really thinking like, oh, it takes a lot of people, a lot of money, and a lot of planning to maintain these roads and build this infrastructure. So payments, a lot of stuff is happening in the background. And so it's not as much as just, putting in a card number and pressing a button and then it's magic. There's a lot of things that go into it. And
But that's the demystification that you're looking to solve as well as
100%. And I think the other thing is what we found going into this space, right, and helping people with their payments, was we would go to a lot of groups and they would tell us one thing and then something else would happen. And they would overpromise and underdeliver. Or they would say that they work with sweepstakes merchants, and we would go through a long, arduous underwriting process only to get hit with limited volume, high reserves, or sometimes even declines. And so what we've done is basically, through our experience, found a roadmap to help people, if they're newer businesses, get live faster with good solutions, which aren't limited by reserves and costly fees. But we also can work with experienced merchants who are already processing, do an audit of their payment stack, and help find them ways to save money, increase acceptance, and take control of their payments. So the tech platform, because it has a lot of unique functionality that really helps increase acceptance and do routing cascading. It's got functionalities that are really great for reporting. And because you, as the merchant or operator, can take control and decide where your customers are processed, it gives you a lot of control and leverage over the banks, where usually it's the opposite way.
Yeah, and to use your analogy, it helps businesses, especially startups or new sweeps, get on the road faster.
100%, but it also helps people. We're actually starting to get a lot of business from established operators because what they're seeing is the amount of integrations that the Fyntek platform has, the functionality that the Fyntek platform has, and one of the bigger things is the ongoing support that they receive from Fyntek. Because what we've been told from a lot of our clients who were working with other gateways or other payments companies is that they essentially give them the keys to the gateway and say, good luck. Yeah. And Fyntek, we don't do that. Yeah. We educate our clients, we provide them the most up-to-date information. We're always looking for new solutions so they can make great decisions on whatever their payments needs are. And then we demystify everything and give them real timelines instead of saying we're going to do one thing and then do another. Yeah. And so when we started this project, we wanted to be operator focused. And so our perspective is that our success comes through the successes of our clients. And so for us, our whole ethos is how can we make operators more successful and how can we help them when it comes to payments? Yeah,
yeah, it makes perfect sense. Their success becomes your success as well,
exactly.
And vice versa.
And that's the thing is we don't do well if they don't do well. Yeah. And so we really, 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 I think in this industry and in any industry, but especially in this industry, one of the hardest things is trust, right? Getting into rapport. We're in an industry where people are spread out. So that's why we love coming to Next, so we can actually be face-to-face with people, shake their hands, look them in the eye, and hopefully they get a sense of who we are and know that we're a trustworthy company, we want to help them, and the service that we provide pays for itself many times over.
And we're very glad to have you here as well. So if I'm an operator and I just don't get payments on my own, why would I need that help?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple ways to look at it, right? So let's say an operator can go to a payments company or a bank and get payments, directly integrate it to their website. They could do all that, but a lot of the payments companies don't necessarily want to support other things or other payments companies. And so our philosophy is that we're agnostic when it comes to payments. Okay. We don't care who you work with on the payment processing. We have partners that we work with and we love to refer for a variety of reasons. One, they have great sponsor banks. I think a lot of these ISOs or PSPs, what people don't necessarily understand is that they all have sponsor banks, and the payments have to go through the initial underwriting through the ISO, but then ultimately the sponsor bank decides if it's going to go through or not. And so we found groups that have great sponsor banks, and they have shorter lines because they're less known in the space, so we can get people up and running faster. We can also get good pricing because when people work with Fyntek, they get the power of our portfolio rather than just being whatever volumes that they're doing or projecting doing, right? They get to be part of something much bigger. Also, if they opt to use the Fyntek technology, the gateway and orchestration platform, if there's anything that happens, right, like they have total control. They can turn off a solution, they can limit traffic, they can do a lot. So, and you get true reporting. What we've been told from some of our clients is that the reporting that they get sometimes, it doesn't show the true picture of acceptance. And so our platform, you see the true picture of acceptance, you get control over like where the payments are going and where the volumes are going, which gives them a lot of leverage over these people. And then when you're partnered with Fyntek, we're advocating on your behalf because once again, we're not under the delusion that once someone's doing volumes that they're not going to want better pricing. Yeah. We're not trying to control what they're doing. We're trying to empower and enable them. And so we love having a good portfolio of merchants. And so we want to be able to help them along their growth journey. And if they're already established, we want to help them save money, right? And increase acceptance. Yeah. Right? But also like limit fraud and be there to support. Unfortunately in this space, a lot of the newer merchants, their sites are tested for vulnerabilities. And so if you don't have someone in your corner who's knowledgeable about payments, maybe you don't have a payments department, Fyntek in essence becomes somewhat of an advocate and supportive player, almost like a fractional payments department of your company.
Yeah. Sounds like your ethos is very much, you're there to help. That builds trust, and that builds rapport, and then success at the end.
Totally. And I think the thing is, our whole philosophy is to come from contribution and to be of service, right? That's in everything I've done before Fyntek, everything I'll do after Fyntek, and just how I live my life. That's what we want to do. We believe that the people who operate in this space are very smart people. They're very capable people. So we're not trying to be some sort of middleman getting in their way or preventing them from doing anything or taking a piece off of what they're doing. We're actually providing a lot of value and positioning them in a really stronger position. And helping them take control of their payments.
I love that.
Right? Because instead of having to deal with a sales rep here, sales rep here, sales rep here, you can just deal with Fyntek and we'll deal with everything. We can help fill out paperwork. We can help negotiate for pricing, and we can use the leverage of our portfolio typically to get you better pricing than if you go direct.
Yeah. From a personal standpoint, where do you think that comes from, that ethos of wanting to help people?
So for me, I mean, my formal education, I did a psychology undergrad, and I think for me, I had great mentors in the past who really taught me the value of contribution. Before being in the payments and Fyntek space, I come from the real estate space, which is hyper competitive. It's red ocean, right? Meaning there's like tons of people trying to do it. You're constantly going against other people in your field competing for the same like few pieces of business. And so the way I was able to have success there and what was taught to me there and what's translated here is to come from contribution, to listen, to ask questions, and to see how I can provide the maximum value. Because I think in a business like real estate or like in Fyntek, operating from a place of contribution, people can feel it. They can feel the sincerity, and they feel you're not trying to BS them or get something from them, that you want to help them. And in both of those spaces, reputation is everything, right? Our business relies a lot on referrals, so we're so grateful for our clients that have worked with us from the beginning and the clients who have referred us business and the partners that refer us business. And so I think it's a great way to be because one, I can go home and put my head on the pillow and sleep at night and I'm not worried. Right, but also it nurtures great relationships, and whether Sweepstakes is around for a short time or a long time, we'll be here and hopefully be in relationships with people and be able to pivot into the next thing, whether that's predictions or otherwise.
Love that. So what is payment orchestration and why should operators be using it?
That's a great question, and I love that you asked that because payments orchestration, it's so important, right? So all of these operators should have redundancy, meaning they should have multiple MIDs or multiple payments partners. So if one goes down, if one has tech issues, or any of these kind of things, they have multiple MIDs and they can process across multiple MIDs. Also, having multiple MIDs and having orchestration allows them to cascade, right? So sometimes there are instances where an issuing bank, right? So meaning the customer's bank will flag a bin, right, or a MID as high risk. And so even if it's not insufficient funds, it's not fraud, they'll get a decline. The Fyntek software will shoot that transaction down your stack. And so you can start with the MID where you have the highest acceptance, or you can go with the one where you have the best cost of processing, right? And then you can cascade down to your less favorable solutions and capture more business. So we're seeing anywhere from 3 to 5% and sometimes up to 10% in increased acceptance. And so when what you pay per transaction on the gateway, the increase in acceptance, if you're doing any kind of decent volume, the gateway pays for itself and then allows you to profit. And it also, what we've seen is it allows people to just have leverage when they grow and it's time to renegotiate pricing. Them having the keys and the control over where the volume flows gives them leverage. With direct integrations, you don't have the visibility, you don't have the control, and it just to me, you lose the ability to increase acceptance with the functionality that the Fyntek Gateway has. So I think it's a no-brainer for anybody who's operating, and we've seen people who weren't believers who are now believers, and so, or people who've tried alternative solutions and are leaving those to come over and work with Fyntek. And so we're really excited about the future, and we just love serving this industry.
Awesome. And well, that actually quite wonderfully brings me on to my last question. You used the word love. What do you love about this industry?
What I love about this industry in particular is I love the people, I love the creativity, and I love that it brings a super diverse group of people and an international community of people together with unique skill sets and experiences, and the kind of people I've met in this space are just some of the most wonderful people. And so I think the people, the ingenuity, the creativity, and the ability to take control over one's future, and it just I've been an entrepreneur for a long time and always had my own thing going. So just being around other entrepreneurs and just collaborating together and bringing value to each other and helping each other do well and prosper, and do things the right way and with a good mindset and a good heart, I think it's just what I personally love about it.
Yeah, we love that too.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Michael, for taking the time and also speaking with me today at Next Summit New York. It's been lovely talking to you.
It's been lovely talking to you as well. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you very much.